This is my third attempt at this video. I've been working on it for about a week, and it's a topic really near and dear to me of feeling stuck and like you're not making progress. This is a topic that's very personal to me, and I imagine there's a lot of other creative people, musicians, artists, filmmakers, writers who are going through this as well, or have gone through this, where you feel you're putting in the hours and the work, grinding away, but you don't quite see the progress you want to see. And I've had to wrestle with this a lot making this very video, because I've gone through already, again, this is my third attempt at making the video, and hopefully it's my final attempt, but it's been very hard for me to be happy with the content that I've created so far, and I keep starting over again with it. I felt a bit of imposter syndrome with this video, because the advice I was giving about letting go, relinquishing feelings of frustration or control, perfectionism, I had to deal with that advice myself and kind of follow my own advice with this. And this all started back last week when I was driving to my gig and just having feelings of this frustration and not feeling like I was seeing the results I wanted to see with some outreach I was doing this summer. And this was kind of putting me in a bad mood, and I was about to play a gig. It didn't help that I was a little tired and a little hungry. But then something happened where I distanced myself from it, and I started to let go of these feelings and practice this process called letting go, which I'll talk about more in a minute. As I started to put some distance between myself and these emotions, I realized that there were things I was thinking about my progress or lack thereof that simply wasn't true. There were thoughts, very non-specific thoughts, like I just need more students, or I need more gigs. Why isn't this happening for me? But when I took a step back and looked at the big picture, I remembered I'd actually acquired 4 new students this past month, and I was in touch with several new venues. So these thoughts I was having simply weren't true. They were telling me lies about myself, about my progress. And I believe this happens when we get caught up in frustration, or when we're not seeing the results that we think we want to see. We get caught up in these myths and lies about ourselves, about our progress. And I wanted to take a look at why that happens in the first place. So exactly why do we get caught up in these feelings, these thoughts, these lies that tell us we're not making progress, or that we're a piece of shit because we're not seeing the results we want to see, when in fact we are making progress? I believe it comes down to just a lack of being able to measure our progress against certain checkpoints that we create. I mean, this is going to look different for everyone depending on what your goal is, what your creative work is. I'll stick with piano players for now, because most of my students are piano players. All of them are. Say you're a piano player, you're learning a difficult piece, or you're transcribing a difficult solo. And maybe after a month of somewhat non-consistent work, you find that you're not where you want to be with that song or that solo. Well, it's not because you suck. It's because you haven't tracked your progress. You haven't decided what checkpoints you want to create for that. So if you're learning a difficult classical piece or other style, you will want to make a checkpoint and say, okay, at the end of this month, right, and in 4 weeks from now, I will have this amount of this song, at 90 BPM or something of that nature, a tempo, or doesn't have to be a tempo, but that's just an example. Or with a solo, you can say, I will have transcribed a chorus of solo 4 weeks from now. This is just an example, right? But you break it down into smaller time frames, because most goals are going to take longer than you expect. And you don't shoot for the goal itself. You don't shoot for the end goal. You shoot for the component or the broken down piece of that goal. And then in 4 weeks, you have a meeting with yourself to see how far you've come and see whether or not you actually met that criteria, met that objective for that piece of that goal. And this requires a lot of discipline, and frankly, I'm really bad at it. But I do have a worksheet that I sort of created, or a system I created of objectives, goals broken down into objectives that you can use to track your progress. It's like a spreadsheet. And I can share that with you. I'm gonna throw it up on the screen here, but I can also share it with you as a PDF if you're interested. This can be very helpful for providing empirical evidence that you are on the right track You are actually doing the work. You're just maybe not moving as fast as you'd like. Now, once you have a good system in place to track your progress, then there's another psychological or even spiritual aspect of this that I'd like to talk about called letting go. And letting go has been it's been a game changer for me in my journey of self-development and being an artist. And I wanted to talk about it because I feel we as creatives and people in general, humanity in general, we're told that we should let go and be unattached to the outcome. Let go of the results and just put in the work and not worry about the results, not worry about the outcome. That's often very difficult to do when we're invested in the outcome because we put a lot of time and energy and work into creating a certain outcome, reaching a certain goal. So how exactly do we let go? How exactly do we surrender feelings of frustration, anger, bitterness, resentment, discontent, futility when things aren't working out? There's a great book called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and I wanted to read a passage of it because I believe he explains really well exactly how to let go. When you let go, you are falling behind the energy that is trying to pull you into it. Your energies inside have power. They are very strong and they draw your awareness into them. If there's a sudden loud sound, again, all of your awareness will focus there. Consciousness has the tendency to focus on disturbance, and disturbed energies inside are no exception. These disturbed energies will draw your consciousness to them. But you do not have to let this happen. You really do have the ability to disengage and fall back behind them. And this description of how to fall behind energies was really helpful to me because for the longest time, I wanted to let go, but I didn't know how. And this book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, I believe really explains how to do that. And it's to fall back behind these energies, these disturbed energies that your consciousness tends to focus on, and not let them suck you in or pull you in. In addition to that, this book, Letting Go, has been really instrumental for me in, letting go. And he goes through all the different emotions. There is a scale of emotions from lower or heavier emotions all the way up to the high emotions, peace, love, acceptance. And he talks about each of those emotions in detail in this book. I highly recommend it. He also uses the words acknowledge and relinquish, or acknowledge and surrender a lot. So the first part of this would be to acknowledge the feeling, in this case, frustration or stuckness that you're not feeling, that you're not making progress, and then to surrender the feeling, let it go, fall behind the feeling, as Michael Singer puts it. Since I started to revisit this process for myself, I found I'm able to kind of focus more and let things go easier. And that's allowed me to free up space and energy to work on creative projects, releasing first 4 tracks of my album, and just feeling more grounded and more patient with myself, been able to forgive myself. It's my hope that this process can have similar effects with you in whatever you're working on, whether you're a piano player, working on a difficult piece, transcribing a solo, or any other type of creative work. I'd like you to try it. Check out the books, Letting Go by David Hawkins and Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Also, there's a ton of other resources online that you can check out. And drop me a comment, let me know how it works for you. And I'd love to hear about your own process with this stuff. I feel like this is a common problem that a lot of creative people feel when we're doing creative work. It's easy to feel stuck or like we're not making progress. So it's my hope that the things I've talked about in this video can help you too. Tracking your progress, creating checkpoints along a goal, breaking your goal down into smaller objectives, and then finding smaller time frames that you can do that work and then check in with yourself at the end of the time frame. And also this letting go process. I hope that you can take one or both of these techniques and use it in your own creative process. Drop me a comment, let me know how that works for you. I'd really love to hear about it. And this has been the culmination of about a week's worth of work talking about both of these aspects of not getting frustrated and having more patience with yourself in the creative process. Thanks so much for watching. Again, drop me a comment, of course, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your summer. Take care.